What the f? Oh, I assumed you knew who I was.
He assumed I knew who he was. Oh my God.
What is he talking about?
Bring arm up. No matter what angle his elbow and shoulder are at, the forearm is always straight up and down.
Yeah.
Keep it that way.
Yeah. Locked. Got it. Let's try it.
Yeah.
I'll go 65. I'm not gonna be here. I don't care. I care about it. Let me try 65. 60 is good. 60.
What are you looking for, Jason?
Let's just get a 55. Well,
You want 65s?
55.
I would say 55 is too light, Jason. You're not a
Jason, Jason, right here. Look. Jason, 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 65.
So again, remember, your forearms are always straight up and down. And you want to control that negative. You want to fight it on the way down.
That's been one of the things, Ian, that I have been trying to get to absorb into his brain. Anyone who's been watching me film Jason for years has heard me say, Jason, do negatives, do negatives. And I probably come off as an annoying pest by constantly trying to remind him to do so.
Yes. Much better, Jason. A little more control on that negative.
Two more.
I think you can get 10. Control. 7. Push.
Work through the pain barrier, Jason. Go. Go.
Yeah. Fight that negative. One more. Cool. Good. So I was just mentioning that Jason is weak on these negatives precisely because he hasn't trained himself.
Trained my body to get used to
Right, to do them. But if someone does train themselves to do all of these exercises correctly, they will be strongest on the negative. Which is the whole reasoning behind things like forced reps, where you'll have someone assist in getting the weight up, and then you can fight it. Precisely because you're going to be stronger here. You're able to resist more than you're able to contract against weight, or the concentric contraction. So,
You know the figure for that percentage?
I have no idea.
40% strength.
40% stronger?
In negative.
40% more strong? Wow.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where the bulk of the muscular damage is done that ultimately leads
The muscle
to
fiber tearing
hypertrophy. So, you know, the example that's often given is that of Olympic weightlifters. One would think that they would be larger given the weights they lift. And one of the many possible or explanations that is offered is that they don't do negatives. So they're doing these, they get the weight up and then they drop it. So they're missing out on a great deal, or the majority of the muscle damage that ultimately leads to hypertrophy.
They're not ripping enough down.
Right, and of course for them it doesn't matter because they're Olympic weightlifters. They really, muscle is just purely functional for them. But if you want to maximize
Muscle damage.
hypertrophy, then you want to control the negatives.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be super slow, but they need to be controlled. So clearly there's a difference between this and this.
Yeah.
So about a 2-second negative is a good rule for most of them. Why am I shaking? This is so strange.
It's definitely the 300 milligrams of caffeine.
Ian, now that you're here in World Gym, do you want me to have Jason say his famous "I'll tell you when to stop, bitch" to you, or?
I'll tell you when to stop.
You've been wanting to say that to him for a while, haven't you?
I'll tell you when to stop.
If you're going to train with Jason, you have to let him say that to you at least once during the workout.
I'll tell you when to stop, bitch.
Come on, Ian.
You got it.
Come on.
One more?
Come on,
Push,
Yates.
push, push.
You want me to spot you?
No, I'm alright, thank you.
You got it. Sickening.
What is it? What is it?
Yeah.
You guys went to high school together?
Yeah, he's always been on that workout shit.
Did he play football? You played football in high school, right?
He's always been on that workout stuff. That's what's up, man. You know, you've been doing it for a bit. It's cool that
Yeah, most people wouldn't be able to do it this long.
Did you even do a working set?
Yeah, I did 15s for 12.
Okay, and that was a working set.
Yeah.
Sickening. Pissening, shittening, whatever.
Yeah. I don't think I could do 20s.
Well, this is useful.
Jason, how do you feel about making normal people, average people, saying sickening and pissening?
It's absolutely sick.
Okay.
It's absolutely rude. It's
In
absolutely
fact, I would
great.
say it's sickening.
It's sickening.
All right, so what are we setting up over here now?
Cable crossovers.
Okay.
So the thought here is we have incline dumbbell presses as the core exercise, and I don't mean core in terms of abs or midsection. It's just the main exercise on which you focus on progressive overload over time. So I'm not sure. Jason did 2 working sets. I guess 85, and that lighter set was what, with 65?
Yeah.
So you did 65 for 10 with close to perfect form. So your goal should be to come in next time and either do more reps with that or use a heavier weight.
Yeah.
I would say, well, you want to control those negatives more, so perhaps stay with that weight. And in your next workout, rather than doing more reps or using more weight, you would want to do the same amount of repetitions, but control the negatives more.
Yeah.
And that would be an improvement. And then once you've really nailed that down, you would want to either do more reps or increase the weight.
Yeah.
I would say increase the weight. I would say, go to 70 and get perhaps 6 to 8 reps and so on and so forth. So eventually you'll be doing whatever it was you were doing in the past, 115s or 120s.
Yeah.
With this good form, forearms in the correct position, and controlled negatives. And again, if you do that, your chest will be bigger as a
It will
result.
get stronger and bigger.
Because being able to say, oh, I lift the 115s, doesn't mean anything as a bodybuilder.
It doesn't mean anything unless it's good form.
Right, because just like with this question of what is your body fat percentage or what is your body weight,
It doesn't matter.
the bodybuilding judges aren't going to say you win because your actual body fat percentage is 9.8% or something, or you win because you weigh this much, or you win because this is what you can incline
Goes
dumbbell
on
press.
definition.
They're going to say, they're going to ask the question, what do you look like? So in the case of your chest, if you have a really good chest, they don't care how you developed that chest. It doesn't matter to them at all. Right, so I want to step out almost to where you are. So the most common mistake with cable flies, these really aren't cable crossovers because we're not crossing the hands, but people will do this. They will not know how to use the handle. They'll just turn it into like this, right? And of course my pecs are doing something, but I'm certainly not optimizing my pec development by doing this. So what you want to do is, you want to focus on driving your upper arms together and then bringing them back, thinking about an arc as opposed to just bringing them straight back. Focus on really, when you're down here, focus on shoving your upper arms together. These 2 points, you want to bring them together as much as possible.
I feel it, bro.
Yeah. You think about opening up your chest, kind of pull your chest. What is a better cue for scapular retraction here?
Keep your shoulder blades hinged.
Right.
say on a bench press, you just say keep your chest tall, but you don't really keep it tall here.
The difference between having your shoulder blades retracted versus protracted or brought forward.
So keeping your shoulder blades retracted means your chest stays nice and tall, and your shoulder blades stay pinched together behind your back. Protraction means they come forward like this,
right.
And during any chest motion, you want to keep them retracted because it gives you the best range of motion and safety for the shoulder girdle.
Yeah, can you protract them again? Just doesn't. Yeah, there's not so much tension on the pecs here versus this. In which case, if you do this correctly, it's extremely painful. It's surprisingly painful. You almost feel as if your pecs are being torn. And one of the benefits here is when you get to this fully contracted position, there's still tension because the cable is pulling this way. So when you're in this position, your pec is still contracting against that force, whereas you're using a dumbbell. Imagine an overhead press, right? Where is the force really going? Joints primarily. Joints primarily. Whereas here, so it's not just pulling this way, it's pulling here. So the pec is still very much contracted throughout this whole ring. Are there any others other than sickening and pissening?
I say bam, baby.
You haven't said that in a while.
Yeah.
That's old school. All right, again, drive those elbows together. Pull your shoulder blades back, right?
I feel it.
Yeah.
Whew. I think it's too heavy.
Step up to about here, right? Good. Good.
Ooh. Better form, but.
Yeah. Interesting.
I don't think so.
It's a bit odd.
What's on your mind, Ian?
Well, I've seen Jason, how much do you bench? 225 for 10 or something?
12.
Right, so he's benching 225 for 12, but when he comes to do an isolation exercise for his pecs, he's really struggling with 30 pounds on a double pulley.
Well, let me ask Jason, I don't mean to cut you off. Jason, were you really struggling there?
I felt it felt awkward, that's all.
Okay, so
I've never done this.
it wasn't that it was heavy, but it's a movement you're not used to.
I'm not used to it.
Okay, that's the difference.
I was going to say because
he never does those, ever.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah, awkward movement.
Because if he was genuinely struggling in terms of it just being too heavy, that would be odd.
It was awkward. It was awkward. It was awkward.
Right, if someone's not done an exercise before, it'll take a few workouts to get used to.